different
I
way.
don't think that's what happened. I think.
In the fucking video.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm here with my new fiance. And we finally got the time to sit down and film the engagement video that you guys requested. So I put on my Instagram story if you guys would be interested in like having a little engagement YouTube video, and a ton of you responded, which was really great, and submitted your questions.
Pictures here.
Insert pictures here.
Pictures.
And yeah, so we're gonna answer some of those, tell you a little bit about our love story and everything like that. But first, you guys know a ton about me, so let me ask Asher a few questions so that you guys can get to know him a little bit better.
It's a little unscripted, unprompted.
I didn't tell him that I was gonna ask him about himself.
Okay.
He's gonna just forget everything in his entire life. That's what happens when people ask me what I like about me when I'm unaware.
Well, you're forget.
First, where are you from?
Western Mass.
Where'd you go to college?
I went to the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, with my darling fiance.
What'd you major in?
This thing is, the way you do this is freaking me out. I don't like this. I majored in economics with a minor in statistics.
What do you do for a living?
I work in investment banking at BMO Capital Markets. That's all you got? That's all the people
I think
want to
that's
know?
it for questions. I wrote down all of these submitted questions and a little outline of what we're going to talk about today because it's a lot to keep track of. We're going to start out with our love story, how we met, and everything like that. And Asher is actually going to take it away on this one.
Well, Renata seems to have a tough time with selective memory loss. So some of the details are a little fuzzy for her. But I went to my sophomore year formal with one of her best friends. We've been good friends for a long time. And so then through that girl, Emma, I started to get to know Renata, and we would start to go out together, and I'd see her at frat parties and, out bars. And then we started becoming a little bit closer friends when she turned 21 in her junior year when I was a senior. And so we'd, go to bars together. We'd go and go to pint night at He's Not in the afternoon sometimes, and kind of just got to become a little bit closer that way. And I always had a crush on her for a long time. And then one night we were out at, I didn't go to one of my cocktails because I didn't have a date and I just didn't feel like dealing with it. And so I met Renata, or Renata met me and one of my good friends at Top of the Hill, for those of you familiar with Chapel Hill. And we hung out there for an hour, and then she was going out with some of her friends and invited me to come along.
I was having a bender of a day. Like, it was a bender of a day. Like...
Describe, elaborate.
I mean, it started out with sake bombs at lunch. And then I went to He's Not. I actually went on a date, which went terribly, which then I texted Asher because I was like, hey, let's hang out or whatever. Because Asher was such a good guy friend.
The best of friends.
The best of friends. And then when we went to go meet up with my friends, we decided that night would be the night that we would all buy rounds of shots for each other. So we probably had like 7 pickleback shots like that
Mixed
night.
in with a couple Jaeger bombs.
It was a tough night. Like, it was a tough night. But there's some debate. Like, he claims that I snuggled into him.
Which is what happened. She'll try and tell you differently.
I don't think that's what happened. I think Asher initiated the first kiss, is what I remember.
But she was blacked out, so she wouldn't remember.
So was he. So who's remembering here? Who's remembering? This is a very
contentious point in our relationship, perhaps.
After our first initial kiss and everything, Asher had already asked me to his fraternity formal. Prior to this entire night, so we were supposed to be going as friends the week later. We went to formal together, and we were not sure if we were gonna date or not. So it was kind of really awkward, honestly. And
it wasn't that awkward.
It was awkward for me because I was having this internal struggle of am I gonna date Ashy? Am I not gonna date Ashy? It was like a whole thing, especially since he was a graduating senior. Okay, anyways, so I got accepted to a Master in China to learn all about like marketing over there. So after he graduated and I finished my semester, I went to China. And honestly, after our last week together at UNC, I thought it was probably gonna fizzle out until he moved to New York in like 2+ years, because he had a job in Atlanta, and we just started FaceTiming when I was in China and continued talking. Then what'd you do, Ashy?
And then I had a trip planned to come visit some of my friends and her in New York.
It was really to fully visit me. He never saw any of his other friends.
It was to visit her. I did see Josh, but it's true. I did plan to visit her with the excuse of seeing my friends. And so I stayed at her apartment that she was staying for the summer right before I started my job in Atlanta. And then...
No, you rented us an Airbnb.
Did I guess an Airbnb? I did guess an Airbnb. That's true. I misspoke.
This man got us an entire Airbnb just to ask me to be his girlfriend.
To which she replied enthusiastically,
no. I actually turned down Asher when he asked me to be his girlfriend because, well, it was my summer in the city. I was interning at Oscar de la Renta that summer, and I got a scholarship to basically just live completely free and like spend like whatever I wanted in the city and whatnot. And I just felt like I did not want to be tied down and wanted to be independent and live my fashion girl Carrie Bradshaw dreams. So I said no to Asher when he asked me to be his girlfriend, despite him flying to New York and talking to me all the time and just being an overall angel. So Asher, being the angel that he is, pretty much, when I told him no, said that he completely understood and that he really, really just like wanted me to be happy and we could see where we are at the end of the summer. And then he left for Atlanta. And pretty much the moment he left, I realized anyone who is able to put someone else's happiness over their own definitely loves that person very, very much. And I knew that that was like a once in a lifetime type of love. And I knew who's the one from that moment. The moment that I said yes to being his girlfriend, I feel like I knew we were gonna get married.
Which was how much later?
A week later. It took me a week to decide. Well, it would have happened sooner, but he went golfing at his friend's Jordan's place in Florida.
That's not true. This is not
Yes, you did. You were in
no,
Florida.
I was in Charlotte.
Oh, Charlotte. He was somewhere with his friend Jordan. There was some golfing involved. And I like wanted him to have his trip first, and then when he got to Atlanta is when I told him. So yeah, that's how we started dating. And then from that point on, we did long distance for a year. So I was a senior at UNC when he was doing his first year post-grad in Atlanta. And we would travel up and down to see each other every 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah, so we traveled to see each other. And then we kind of discussed how we both wanted to move to New York. He's in investment banking, which there are a lot of really great opportunities in New York. And it's really like the best for that in New York, so he wanted to be there in a more competitive environment.
And just New York City is much more fun than Atlanta, in my opinion. And having been from the Northeast, it's a little different being down south, and it's a different way of life. And I just felt like I found more, people I vibe with up in New York City and in New York area. A lot of my friends from college were from Long Island or from the New York metro area, and so it just made sense for me to come back and move back up north.
Yeah, so we're both Northerners. I'm from New York originally, and he's from Mass, so like we always knew we were gonna come back up. Like the South just didn't like. It was okay for 4 years, but for me personally, like I just didn't fit the vibe. Like, but anyway, so and I wanted to move to New York for the fashion industry. So in like December, January of my senior year, his first year post-grad, he started applying to jobs in New York and luckily landed one at BMO, Bank of Montreal. During Valentine's Day weekend of my senior year, we moved up to New York. we got an apartment in Murray Hill, 1 bedroom, and we drove 10 hours and moved all his stuff in. And I moved some of my stuff in because I started slowly bringing things towards the end of my senior year, which was kind of really amazing. That's how we moved to New York. I'm definitely going to do a whole separate video about what that moving process is like with Asher, because he really dealt with most of it, pretty much all of it. And that is one of my most requested questions from you guys, is how do you move to New York? Like, what is looking for a apartment like, and all that kind of stuff. So we'll definitely have a video about that coming soon. But back to the story. So after my graduation in May of 2019, we moved in together. Pretty much 6 a.m. day after graduation, I was on a flight to New York. Like, I got out of Chapel Hill like that. It was over. College was over. I was done with it. Like, I was so happy to move to New York. And yeah, we lived together for a whole year. So this brings us to our engagement story. So take it away, Asher. You're the one who did the engaging.
Wait, what the fuck?
So Asher and I had lived together for a year, and when coronavirus and everything hit, like, we started talking about what the next step in our relationship was. So we both have very busy schedules. Like, when I first moved to New York, I was working like 2 jobs, 7 days a week, like very, very busy girl. Asher works in investment banking, which means he literally is working till like 9 or 10, like most nights. So even though we lived together, I feel like we didn't have a ton of time together, which people are very shocked by, but like, we were just so busy, you know? And coronavirus actually helped us to spend a lot of time together, because work got very slow for both of us for a few months, and we got to spend like pretty much like all of our time together, like trapped in our little tiny New York City apartment. And it kind of made us realize like how much we even love each other even more. And yeah, we were just kind of like talked about like taking the next step.
Well, I knew that Renata was definitely the girl of my dreams. I knew that for a long time. And so, you know, as the year kind of went along, I wanted to think about what getting engaged would look like, and figured that would be a nice thing to do to, you know, get our relationship to the next level. You know, me and Renata talked about getting married at some point, so it wasn't like a new topic. And given the fact that I know she has very particular tastes around many things in life, I decided to involve her intimately in the ring design process. So she definitely had a pretty good heads up that there was an engagement coming, given the fact that she designed the ring herself.
I did design the ring. So around the time that Asher got his promotion, which I celebrated in one of my TikTok vlogs, if you guys remember. It was in about, I think, July, like early July. We had discussed getting married and getting the ring. So just a little bit about what that ring designing process kind of looked like for us. So we started out first with the center stone. I really was torn between choosing an oval shaped diamond and a radiant. I had known nothing about diamonds before, honestly, and I just did a ton of research, and we actually got our diamonds from Blue Nile, which is a diamonds sourcing website, one of the biggest in the world that sell diamonds. And it's really awesome because you can like filter like the different kinds of qualities that you want in a diamond. So like, I really wanted one that was like the clearest like color and had very few visible eye inclusions and stuff like that, and like had the oval cut. And also they list like the size of the diamond, because like carat and size is totally different things. Like the carat's just the weight, and sometimes there are 2.5 carat diamonds that appear smaller than others. So like, I was like very, very particular in what I was looking for, and I wanted a really high quality diamond. So we looked for that together. I originally wanted to do just like the entire diamonds process with a jeweler, but because of everything kind of being closed and coronavirus and everything, like at the time I wasn't super comfortable with going in and looking. I don't even think it was open actually. Like this was before like outdoor dining just opened up in New York when we were looking for diamonds. So it was so much easier to just look at one online. So we did that. I couldn't find the right one at first, and then once I found it, like I just absolutely knew it was it. My diamond is a 2.51 carat oval cut diamond. It came with like literally everything, like GIA certification, which if you don't know is like if you're gonna purchase a diamond, like there's this document that like proves that like it is what it is and it's real. And so we got our GIA certificate and everything to the New York jeweler Stephanie Gottlieb. Some of you may know her, some of you not. She's pretty famous on Instagram. But I've been obsessed with her work forever, so I knew that I wanted my ring to be custom and to be from her jeweler. So I wanted it to be from her jewelry company. So we went to Stephanie Gottlieb and decided on a very thin, it's actually the thinnest bands that they have. So we got a thin platinum band with a micro pave, which just means that they're little tiny diamonds all along the like rim of the ring. I'm currently not wearing it because it is getting resized. I got a size 6 when really I was a size 5. Huge mistake on my part. I did not realize that engagement rings were supposed to fit like really tight, and because my band is so thin, it gives like a little bit more wiggle room. To design the ring, I never saw the diamonds like in its setting or anything. Like I never saw the ring finished until our actual engagement moment. So from that point on, I had nothing to do with the ring. I didn't know when it was picked up. I didn't know when the engagement was gonna happen. And that was kind of like in August, like early August, late July. So from that point on, like it could have literally been September, it could have been December, it could have been any time. I really didn't know when he was going to propose. I just knew that there was going to be a proposal at some point and that we were going to take that next step soon-ish. So that brings it to Asher.
I want to propose when it was outdoors and when it was still nice out, so that we could wear, nice clothes and not have to be bundled in jackets, because I'm sure you know the New York winters get quite chilly.
Guys, New York winters are the worst. Jackets, like especially in the winter, it ruins all outfits. Just putting it out there.
So with that in mind, I want to propose somewhere that was meaningful and was pretty, so we had a good spot for pictures, but that also wasn't super obvious. So I didn't want her to know, like, if I suddenly decide to go to the park for the first time in like a year and a half, she'd probably know that we're getting engaged there. So instead of doing that, I knew that Renata really liked the piers out in Brooklyn because you have a great view of the city skyline, and it's just a pretty spot sunset. You've probably seen some of her TikToks and Instagrams from that area that she really likes those views. We've taken a bunch of pictures down there. I made a reservation, told her it was for 4 of us, so we had dinner with Sam. It was really just the 2 of us. And went on a Friday afternoon. I enlisted the help of another coworker, Maria, who went down incognito. She dressed up with a hat and with her mask, so she would be unrecognizable. And we took the ferry down, which I highly recommend doing if you ever get the chance. Taking the ferry to Brooklyn is very nice. So we took the ferry down, and then, it was very simple. We just went on the pier to take some pictures, and, Renata likes her angle, so I got down low and, to take some good pictures, and then called her over to look at the pictures, and then, as I'm sure you've seen the video, it's a pretty seamless transition into proposing. All went according to plan, I'd say.
Yeah, and in the weeks leading up to the engagement, I really had no idea. Had Asher said that we were going to Crocodile on his own, I would have known immediately. Just because Asher really never makes dinner recommendations, especially, I feel like I'm the one who always plans out our date nights. So because it was like this like double date like situation, like I genuinely thought that we were going on a double date. I did get my nails done, however, just in case. I've been getting my nails done randomly for like ever since we designed the engagement ring. I'm really glad that I had them done, because it really like was like 2 weeks I'd have them, then 2 weeks I wouldn't, then 2 weeks I'd have them again, like, so I really lucked out. And yeah, like I feel like it was definitely a surprise in the moment. And as you see from the video, like I literally started crying immediately. Like I just was like so emotional because Asher is like literally the most amazing person I have ever met, and I love him very much, and I can't believe that we get to spend forever together. And we took a ton of pictures after. Shout out to Maria again, because she's awesome for taking our pictures and bringing her camera and doing all that. And then we actually did have dinner at like Carpe Diem, and it was amazing.
Engagements are fun.
It was a fun night, and like we sat on the pier, literally called our friends for like the entire hour before our reservation and texted everyone, and like it was just literally a whirlwind
of emotions.
Okay, so you guys submitted a ton of questions. So again, I have them listed out, and we're going to start. But this is the wedding questions. Do you feel pressured to have the wedding soon?
No.
No.
Coronavirus is still a thing. I do not want to be planning a wedding with any COVID headwinds. So I would much rather wait till whenever we have to wait till for this to be a little more cleared up, and we're very young, so we have plenty of time.
Yeah, we're super young. We can wait 2 years. I do not want to deal with COVID. Plus, that brings us to the next question. What theme will your wedding be? And that is no theme. Like, the theme is wedding. I hate themed weddings. Like, people who have, like, Halloween themed weddings or something like that. Or, like, I've seen so many crazy things on TLC. The wedding theme is wedding. And it will probably be destination. Like, by probably, it will definitely be destination, which is another reason why we can't have it for a while because of COVID. Americans are not allowed to travel anywhere right now, especially to Europe, which is where our wedding is going to be. We haven't exactly chosen a location, but we are expecting it to be probably in Portugal kind of area. I'm also looking into some Spain, maybe some south of France, but we're leaning heavily to Portugal. I am Portuguese, by the way. So Portugal, September of 2022 is really the goal. Pending COVID, could be pushed to 2023. We would rather it be 2022, but you never know with the way the world is these days. What wedding dress style do you like? Like, honestly, I have no idea. I literally I was never that person who made like a dream like wedding Pinterest board or anything like that, just because the idea of getting married like was so distant to me when I was younger. And also, I don't know, like I just never got into it like that like some girls did. I watched like Say Yes to the Dress and things like that, but past that point, like I never curated my dream wedding in any way. So that's gonna be really hard for me to like pick an aesthetic and also pick a dress, because I'm starting from scratch pretty much. But yeah, there's a few designers that obviously like I would love, but wedding dresses are extremely expensive, guys, so we will see what we end up with. I'm hoping that I figure something out, but yeah, it will be interesting to see what kind of style I end up going with, because I really don't know my bridal style at all. Okay, so now we have your relationship questions that you guys submitted. How did we know each other was the one? How do you know I was the one?
You go first.
I already went. I said that I knew Ash was the one earlier in this video when he chose to let me have my summer to myself when I told him I didn't want to date him, and he still loved me and accepted me and was willing to wait for me. That's when I knew. When did you know you loved me?
Well, I knew that she was the one because she was incredibly driven and had very similar goals to me in terms of wanting to have a New York life together and wanting to, make our way in this world. And really strive for things and try and how to say become bigger and better without being an asshole.
We're just very ambitious people.
Being ambitious, yes.
I feel like
I admired her ambition, and I think that really drew me to her. And she's obviously beautiful, so and very snuggly, which I really enjoy. And I think that we have very compatible personalities when it comes to like our emotions and kind of the way we deal with problems.
Yeah. Like, I'm a little bit, like, more, like, loud and a little crazier and all this. And Asher's, like, very calm and, like, strategic. And it balances out, like, my more, like, manic side. He's, like, the thinker, the organizer. And, like, we kind of complement each other in that way.
I'm the brains of the outfit.
He's a lot of brains, and I'm a lot of spontaneity and fun. That brings us to, do we fight? And honestly, like, I don't think that we really fight. Like, I can't really think of a moment where we went to bed angry at each other. Which is, like, one of our rules, I feel like. We never go to sleep angry. We always work it out. We always talk it out. I think Asher is the best communicator in the world. And even when I'm being, like, kind of crazy and irrational and, like, very, very emotional, like, he'll just sit me down and be like, okay, so, like, let's figure this out. Which is why we never fight.
But when we do, I win.
I mean, I win. How do we handle our finances, joint/separate?
Can we pronounce it right?
Finance?
How do we handle our finances?
How do we handle our finances?
No,
Finances.
It's finances.
I know it's finances. How do we handle our finances, joint or separately? So, you want to take this away?
I handle all the finances. Given my background and my personality, I have a pretty good sense of how to manage money, and I think it's easier to have everything in one place nowadays with Zelle and Venmo. It's very easy to transfer money quickly. So we do not have joint bank accounts for those of us who are asking, but I do have access to all of her bank accounts. And I manage pretty much all of her money for her, and make sure that we're keeping on track. So I spend a lot of time throughout the week and the month, making sure that all our finances are on track and that everything's getting paid for, and that, you know, our financial life is running smoothly.
While Asher does all of, like, our spreadsheets and making sure we're budgeting and saving and stuff like that, and he does know what I make and has access to my bank accounts to transfer into different savings accounts and whatever, we do have completely separate finances. Again, no joint account. We pay for our own clothes, entertainment, whatever. Asher does pay for all of our date nights for the most part. Occasionally, like, I will split, or I'll get, like, pizza for us or something like that. But since he does make significantly more than me, he usually handles our date nights. But other than that, like,
well, we have a good division of labor where she plans date nights, and I'm happy to pay for them. So it's you know, alignment of skill sets.
Yeah, but rent and everything is separate. So, how young should you start looking for love?
Let love find you.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. You should not be looking for love. You should be looking to love yourself first. I think if I didn't learn how to love myself first, I could not be a good partner. And I think one of the reasons why Asher fell in love with me in the first place was that, again, I was ambitious and doing my own thing, and, like, it inspired him as well, right?
Sure.
Like, I was very happy on my own. Like, I was happy and independent and had my own passions and dreams. So I think that if you put that energy out into the world, like, you will find your match and also be able to be a better partner for someone. What is your biggest tip to a long-lasting relationship?
Just a tip. Sorry. Communication. I think communication is key. I think that if you don't talk and you don't value taking the time to talk things out, then you will never really solve problems, and problems will just fester and get worse and cause, you know, long-term issues. So I think communicating and taking the time to understand what the other person is thinking and feeling makes the biggest of differences.
And I completely agree. That's exactly what I was going to say as well. Like, communication is the most important thing in a relationship. And yeah, it's the foundation of a solid relationship. The next section of questions has to do with the future. Am I taking his last name? And I think I am. I don't think I'm hyphenating.
I'm anti-hyphens too. It just makes for...
It just is very confusing, and I'm totally comfortable taking Asher's last name, so catch me being Renata Kennan in a few years. Do you want to live in New York City forever? Yes.
We do?
I do.
I'm not sure if we want to live in New York City forever. I think some of the suburbs and surrounding suburbs could be quite nice. But
Yeah.
in the metro area or within a short distance from the city, for sure.
Yeah, like we are not moving more than like half an hour outside the city. If we do decide to go to the suburbs, I personally would love to be an Upper East Side mom, or Upper West Side. I'm not super picky in which city mom I am, but it really depends on what the world is like when we decide to have kids. But yeah, kids would really be the determining factor of when we would leave New York City. I imagine that would be the main cause. Which brings us to our next question: do we want kids? Yes.
Yes. Probably.
We both want kids. Personally, I don't think I want more than 2. I personally don't want to have children before the age of 30, so definitely going to be a while before that happens. As for right now, knock on wood, obviously. So yeah, that is the plan. That is it for our little love engagement story Q&A video. So like and subscribe for more. I definitely will be posting some wedding content once we figure everything out. Once I start actually planning that, hopefully soon, probably in the next 6 months or to a year, I'll be doing more wedding content. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and like and subscribe.